Good afternoon, good evening. We are back to the study of the Spirit's book. Last week, we were doing family relationships, and we still have to go through the last question, which is question 206. I see that Philip's not here today. Zoraida, can you read for us?
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
Okay.
206.
Okay. If there's no relationship between the spirit's successive reincarnations as a descendants of the same family, is it foolish to honor the memory of one's ancestors? Of course not. People should celebrate belonging to a family that counts elevated spirits among its members. Although spirits do not proceed from one another, their affection for those who are related to them by family ties is real. People are often led to incarnate in such a family because of pre-existing links and by the influence of attractions due to relationships from previous lives. You can rest assured that the spirits of your ancestors are in no way gratified by the honors you paid to their memory from a sentiment of pride. Their merits, no matter how great, can only add to your incentives by stimulating your efforts to follow the good examples they may have set for you. Through emulation of their good qualities, your memory can become pleasant and valuable.
So we were talking about family relationships, right? And the difference between we as eternal spirits that are on our own individual journey, and the links, the physical body links that we have, meaning we are born of our mother and father, and we inherit physical traits from the parents, which we are going to see more deeper in the next item. But we are individual spirits, eternal spirits. So the question for Kardec here, if we are not descendants of the family in terms of spiritual inheritance, is, should we honor the memory of one's ancestors? And the Spirit tells us there's nothing wrong in honoring a member of a family that gave a good contribution to humanity, right? Unfortunately, most of us like to honor important members of our ancestors, not necessarily those that make a positive contribution to society, but sometimes those that make financial contribution to who we are today. But the spirits are telling us that if we are honoring their spiritual journey in terms of leaving a legacy of spiritual teachings, there is nothing wrong in honoring them, in remembering them with love, with care, and with understanding. You can, for instance, I know that Zoraida's mother was the one that teach them about spiritism and educated them in a way that they always had a spiritual education. So she was clearly a spirit of a certain degree of evolvement, right? And why shouldn't you honor someone like that? Why shouldn't you remember someone like that with care, with love, and with respect? So it's in that sense that the spirits are saying that it's important to honor our ancestors, but not in the sense that, oh, my great-grandfather was the king of this and that, and because he was the king, I'm proud. Well, how was he as a king? Did he do a good job in terms of helping others, or just accumulated riches and persecuted those that were against him? That's what the spirits are trying to tell us here. Okay. All right. So next item will be physical and moral likeness.
Yes. 207. Parents often transfer physical likeness to their children. Do they also transfer moral likeness? No, because they have different souls or spirits. The body may yield a body, but the spirit does not yield any other spirit. The descendants of the same race share nothing other than blood. What causes the moral likeness that sometimes exists between parents and children? The influence of moral sympathy, which brings together spirits with similar thoughts and inclinations.
Okay, so here we have two things for us to think about. First, the physical likeness of the children in relation to their parents. And of course, we inherit, our physical body inherit from our parents, the DNA and some physical characteristics. We know that there are some things that we inherit from the father or the mother, a combination of both. So there is what it's called the physical likeness. And it's very interesting that sometimes, even when you look at adopted children, they have some resemblance of their parents by means of just being raised and living with them. In terms of spirits, we only inherit from ourselves. We are eternal spirits. Our physical body is formed from our perispirit, reflecting what our perispirit shows and needs in what physical body in the present incarnation needs. But of course, we have links of affection or of problems with our parents that can reflect in the what so-called moral likeness, right? So you see, you have, for instance, a couple that has worked and it's spiritually evolved, and they are raising kids that are working together with them for some time in the family's evolutionary path, and you can see some moral likeness that exists between parent and children out of this moral sympathy that they have to each other. And as we can have the other way around also, right? Sometimes you see children of parents and you say, wow, how come this child is the child of these parents, in both ways, right? And how come such bad parents have such a nice child, or such good parents have such a difficult child, so a nasty child? So that is the case, is that they are together to readjust, to learn from each other, and try to evolve through this sharing of experiences. So again, physical is we inherit from our parents. Moral, we inherit from ourselves. We bring our own, we make our own individual path through our moral and intellectual evolution, and we bring with us. And we can see, you know, that there are cases that you see that both parents have, they are mentally challenged, and the child is not. So you can see that this one thing does not depend on others, and many more cases where the parents have no mental challenges, and the child is born with a mental challenge because it's a challenge for the spirit to go through the experience. Okay, all right. Comments, questions here? Welcome, Philip. You arrived late, so we had to ask Soraya.
No problem.
Okay. Okay, so we go to 208. Okay. Do the spirits of the parents have any influence over the spirit of their child after birth? They have a very large influence on it. As we have already told you, spirits are made to contribute to one another's progress. The spirits of the parents are entrusted with the mission of developing those of their children by training they give them. It is a task that is appointed to them, in which they cannot fail to fulfill without feeling a sense of guilt.
Okay, parenthood is a mission in general terms, okay? And again, when we talk about mission, we think about mission as a big act to save humanity. And mission can be of an individual nature. We talked a little bit about this last week. And for sure, and it is written in the Spirit's book, and it's written in the Gospel according to Spiritism, parenthood is a mission.
Yeah.
Not a mission that parents succeed in many times, a mission that many parents fail. But again, when we receive a spirit as a child, it's our responsibility as parents to educate them, to try to control their inferior tendencies, to prepare them for their life as much as we can, understanding that our influence works on them from 0 to 7 in a much more deep way. And then it starts reducing from 7 to teenager. And then as a teenager, it becomes more and more difficult. But there is always a relationship that carries on. And, you see parents with adult children still treating them like children, and children complaining about, when they are adults, like for parents treating them like children, which is a relationship that we struggle to put in a right frame sometimes. But yes, parents have a very large influence on their children, and it is a mission that they have to try to fulfill to the best of their abilities. Again, we are imperfect spirits. We're going to make mistakes. We are going to educate our children with some issues that we are going to go wrong in many ways. But the important thing here is to assume the responsibility and make the effort to do as good as a job as we can. I heard many times parents saying, unfortunately, children doesn't come with a instruction manual, right? If they had come with instruction manual, everything would be much easier, but they don't. And actually, when you have more than one, they're completely different from each other. So even if you have the manual for the first one, the second one, the manual you have to throw away and start all over again, because it's all different, right?
Yes.
But again, it's an very important mission that we carry. It's a responsibility that we bring to this incarnation. Okay.
Okay. 209. How is it that good and virtuous parents sometimes give birth to children who are perverse and malicious in nature? In other words, how is it that the good qualities of the parents do not always attract a good spirit to embody their child? A bad spirit may ask to have good, honest parents in the hope that their counsel may help him or her mend their ways. And God often entrusts such a child to the care of virtuous individuals so that they may benefit from their love and care.
Yes. We, in Spiritism, we learn that we have to reincarnate surrounded by loved ones and by those that we need to readjust. And sometimes we also are reincarnated around those that are spirits that are not related to us in any positive or negative way. So these are the three situations. And many times parents can choose to bring a spirit to life, a child that they are trying to help improve. So they are maybe, you have a couple of parents that were partners in crime with another spirit in a one old incarnation, and both parents have already evolved, have already overcome their inferior tendencies, but the third one hasn't. This third one is still struggling, but they care for this third one, or they feel responsible for what they did, and they can choose for this child to come. And the child, of course, will be a difficult spirit, someone that will give parents a lot of headaches and a lot of difficulties, but it's the effort that the parents are going to make to help them. The other way around is possible also. André Luiz in his works gives us some examples. We have the reincarnation of Sigismundo in the book Missionaries of the Light. They are all together involved, Adelino, Raquel and Sigismundo, they are involved in the previous incarnation in issues, betraying each other, and they choose to try to come together and readjust with all the difficulties. We have André Luiz's own family, right? His mother is in a more evolved plane of existence. His father is in a lower zone, together with two of the ladies that his father deviate and help him deviate when he was incarnated. And his mother tells André Luiz that she's coming back to again marry his father and to receive these two women as children, so they can both educate, and she of course is going to be the one educating the three of them. So we reincarnate around those that we need to help, to be helped, to readjust. And that can apply to parents, to children, to any members of family. So you have in a family, when you have many children, you have some that are good, some that are more difficult. I always remember one story that I heard a very long time ago of a couple that had 4 children and then adopted another one. And when they got old and sick, the only one who took care of them was the adopted one. All the other 4 abandoned them. So you can see how, it's important. The connection is spiritual. It's not necessary of blood ties, right? Sometimes blood ties are just a temporary attempt to readjust, but many times we end up failing on this attempt. Okay?
Yes. Okay, 210. Can parents attract a good spirit into the body of their child by their objectives and prayers? No, but they can improve the spirit of the child who was entrusted to them for that purpose. Is it their duty to do this? But bad children are often sent as a trial for the improvement of the parents as well.
Yes, well, I think all parents pray for a good spirit to incarnate as their child, right? We would love to have a child that doesn't give us any problems and take care of us when we are old, right? But in reality, sorry, and teach us. Yes, we would love to have all parents pray for that, but in reality, on our path of evolution, we need to face challenges, and we are going to have to receive difficult children, or we are the difficult ones, and we are going to receive good children to help us evolve, or siblings, or so we will be surrounded always by good by affections and disaffections of the past. But there is nothing wrong in pray and ask for a good spirit to incarnate as our children. There's nothing wrong in praying and asking for good things, right? You pray to ask, to thank, and to praise. And you can ask for a good spirit to incarnate close to you as your son or daughter, or even as your granddaughter, grandson, and so on and so forth. And eventually we will get some that will be connected to us in different forms, but it's nothing wrong in asking.
Okay, 211. What causes the similarity of character that so often exists among siblings, especially between twins. The understanding that exists between two spirits who are attracted by similarities of thoughts and ideas and who are happy to be together.
Yeah, when we're talking about siblings, right? Again, same thing. You can have two spirits that are very friendly, love each other very much, and want to come together to help each other to progress. So they are born in a family, and maybe they are there to help the parents or to deal with the parents. We read and we see so many cases of siblings taking care of each other when the parents are not able to take care, or the parents have to work or are indifferent to children. You know, we see children, even young children, you know, early teenage years, taking care of younger children, right? But we see the opposite. You know, I have a friend that they had two kids, and when they were like 6 and 8 or 7 and 9, they wrote divorce papers between them. They had so much fight against each other that they decided to write divorce papers between them. You know, their parents got divorced, so they decided to divorce between them also. You know, nowadays they are adults. And I wouldn't say they have the great relationship. Of course, they have a decent relationship, but it's difficult, right? Sometimes you come with siblings that you have to readjust, and that you have to help and be helped. And it's part of our journey and a part of our challenges to get along. When we talk about twins here, twins, and there is another question of twins, so I'll ask Soraya to read the next, and then we talk about twins,
Okay.
both of them, okay?
Okay, 212. In the case of conjoined twins who share some of their organs, are there two spirits or two souls? Yes, but their likeness often makes them seem as though they were only one.
Okay, when we talk about conjoined twins, or first, let's talk about regular twins, right?
Yeah.
Why would spirits come as twins? For the same reason that they will come as normal siblings, right? To help each other or to readjust. There are twins that, you know, in most cases, you see twins getting very well along with each other, which is, you know, spirits that come together to give them each other strength, to give each other support. And sometimes there are, you know, twins that come and don't really like each other or have a lot of problems. So they come together out of necessity to readjust. Now, when you talk about conjoined twins, it becomes more of a serious problem, right? Because when you are born as a conjoined twin, especially if, you know, now at the time of Kardec, there was no way of separating them. Nowadays, there are successful surgeries that are able to separate in many cases, but sometimes there are cases that you cannot separate if they are conjoined by vital organs that cannot be separated. This is definitely a karma, readjustment for one or both of them, more likely to both of them, but it can be one of them has this karma and the other decides to come on a mission to help the one that is the problem, right? Because by staying together 24/7, you know, you need to learn how to share. So maybe that's something they need. So again, each case will be a case. We cannot talk about what is specifically the reason. We can talk about general reasons. And what we can say is it is really a karma for one, or in most cases for both. And of course for the parents that also have to deal with this challenge of having conjoined twins, right? I don't know in terms of medical, there is any thing to say in terms of magic. There's no recent evolvement, right? Nothing really different, right? Okay. Okay.
Okay. Okay, 213. Since
Siblings. I wonder how much of the similarity that you noticed derives from the influence of the parents and the influence, the teaching, guidance from the parents that guide those siblings to have the similarity of characters.
Yeah. Danny.
I have seen very few twins that really don't like each other. I think, as you said, it's more common to see twins that really get along really well. But would it be possible for every one of us to at some point come as a twin of another person, or is more rare than? I'm asking this because I see that sometimes I see twins as a little bit as a privileged in a way that they have that other person. It doesn't matter what happened in their lives, or they really are there for each other. Even in their adult lives, they get married, but it's a relationship that no other siblings get in between, or parents, or even, I would say, spouses, if they get married, is very unique to a twins kind of relationship. So would it be possible that at some point in our eternal life, we would go through something like that?
Very good. Very good.
If necessary, very possible, right? If necessary, if you have a spirit that you are very connected with, and you want to come together and to be very close to each other, and there is an opportunity to come as twins, you may come as twins. Nowadays, with all the fertilization methods, we normally have more twins, right, being born, because when you do artificial fertilization, it increases the possibility of having twins. But I'm again, it's us speculating here, but I think yes, it's possible. Let's say you come with a very challenging life in terms of what you have to do, and you are not sure if you'll be strong enough to face the challenges that you have to face, and then you have this spirit that is pretty much connected to you and decides to come with you. So let's do it together. Let's face this challenge together. I think it's possible. It's even likely, but but I don't think there is any study that I remember in Spiritism, more deep study about twins. Have you read anything else? I don't remember having read anything.
I think it's just as possible as that we will reincarnate to have twins. The likelihood is very plausible. It's very likely, especially in cases that everyone said now with the advancement of fertilization, in which multiple zygotes basically implanted, the likelihood of us returning here and have twins is even bigger than in the past.
Okay, 213. Since spirits incarnate as twins due to feelings of sympathy, from where does the hostility that is sometimes felt by twins for one another originate? There is no set rule stating that only sympathetic spirits are incarnated as twins. Unsympathetic spirits may have formed this link to try to work out their differences during a new physical life.
Read the next one. It's
Yes.
still related.
Yeah. How should we interpret the stories of children fighting in their mother's womb? As a figurative representation of their animosity towards one another, which goes back to times before their birth. People rarely make sufficient allowance for the figurative element in certain statements.
Yeah, we talked about, I talked a little bit about this, right? Most twins are connected to each other, have very close connections, very tight bonds. But sometimes there are twins that have hostility towards each other. If they're coming as twins as a karma, right? They're coming because they need to be, they keep. Let's go to one case of obsession. Two spirits that have been obsessing each other for incarnations after incarnations, and the only way to try to solve their differences is to place them in the same womb for them to be reincarnated as twins, so they cannot obsess each other from discarnate to incarnate. They are both incarnates. Of course, they're not going to have sympathy. They've been persecuting each other for such a long time. So they are going to have very difficult childhood and relationship. But sometimes it is the opportunity of readjusting and repairing. They can also eventually be, even in some very difficult cases, be incarnated as conjoined twins, because then they have to stay connected to each other, like it or not, right? And you can imagine that these spirits, when they are in the womb of the mother, they are spirits. They have these issues with each other. Figuratively speaking, they can be fighting against each other in the womb, as that's what they're saying here. When we studied, we recently studied about a pregnancy in the book Between Heaven and Earth, right? And the symbiotic relationship between the mother and the child, we went deep into that study in the book Between Heaven and Earth. So if there is this symbiotic relationship between the child and the mother, pregnant mother and their unborn baby, imagine with two spirits incarnating there or more, right? You have all these symbiotic relationships and that can generate all the problems or generate the positive things that sometimes happens, right? There is a movie about three twins, boys, right, that were separated at birth and met when later in life, and they still had a lot of similarities amongst them, that they were raised in completely different family, completely different environments, but they had some similarities between them in terms of tastes, in terms of behavior. Why is that? Only our spiritual nature can explain. Spirits that came together as twins with affinities that they have for each other, they have some affinities that reflect in their tastes and their behaviors as incarnate spirits, even if they never were raised with one another. Okay. All right, next. Oh, that's Danny, sorry.
So in that case, then they are twins as well in the spiritual world.
No.
But in a way, like
No, they are not in the spiritual world, right?
No, I mean like twins, like
Empathetic spirits.
More than that, no? Because if they were separated and they didn't have this relationship or knew each other, and then you find several similarities, that is from the spirit.
Yes.
Before they... Okay.
Yes, you are there in Nosso in a spiritual colony, and of course you have those spirits that you are you have a better relationship than others. You share things that you share more with some than the others. You remember André Luiz had a very close relationship with Lysias in Nosso Lar. So let's say this they incarnate as twins. And they are separated at birth and go raised, but they have a lot of the same tastes, a lot of similarities, because they have affinities, spiritual affinities. They are sympathetic spirits, so that's why they show. And again, it's not that they are exactly the same as the others. They have some common traits that that probably if you get 2, 3 people that have no physical relationship, and you study the traits, you find some similar traits between people that have nothing to do with each other, but we don't pay attention. We just say, oh, they have the same taste in this or that. But when you are studying twins, then it calls your attention. But in the end, it's affinity between sympathetic spirits, right?
Okay. 215. What is the cause of the distinctive character that we observe in each population or ethnic group? Spirits make up different families formed based on the similarity of their tendencies, which are more or less purified according to their elevation. Each population is a large family made up of sympathetic spirits. The tendencies of the members of these families to unite is the source of the similarity that forms a distinctive character of each population. Do you think that good and compassionate spirits will want to be a part of a hard and unrefined population? No. Spirits sympathize with the masses in the same manner that they sympathize with individuals. They go to the region where they will find the most harmony with the inhabitants.
We are born in the place that gives us the best opportunity for us to evolve morally and intellectually. We are placed by the spirits, or we place ourselves, if we have the ability to choose, in the best possible conditions for us to evolve. Again, depends on our the purpose of each incarnation. So if you are coming to this incarnation on a regular incarnation, which is the vast majority of us here, we're not coming on a special mission. We are not supposed to come here to make a difference for the big crowd. We are coming here to make a difference for ourselves, to improve. Where should we be born? Where we'll face the challenges and opportunities to help us evolve morally and intellectually. So we need to be surrounded by some spirits that will help us, some spirits that will challenge us, and some spirits that will be completely different from us, so we can learn tolerance, acceptance, and resignation. So in a population or ethnic group, as Kardec asks here, you are going to have different types of spirits incarnated of different evolvements, spiritual evolvements, and with different needs. Each individual has its own needs, completely different from others. But, the unity of this group gives us the best opportunity for those involved in the group to evolve. Are all of those going to succeed? Of course not. Many are going to fail. If you're born in a very difficult neighborhood, right, which crime predominates, which is, with which there is hunger, there is persecutions, discriminations. Why you are there? Because you have to learn to live in that community. Are you going to succeed? Most likely not. But it is an opportunity, even if you progress very little on that incarnation, at least, you know, you find someone to protect from that environment. You help one individual to progress a little bit. So you acquire merit for having done that, right? So we are never placed in a place where we have no chance of succeeding. We are always placed where we have the best chance of succeeding. But according to our free will, our inferior tendencies, our other imperfections, we many times fail to make the progress we were supposed to make, and we end up making very little progress and having to come back and start all over again, or in a more difficult situation. But yes, Paco.
We have to be very careful the way we phrase those things, because you know, saying like that is like black and white, because sometimes, Joe, of course, it's my opinion that even failure is a step towards success.
Yes.
So we may find ourselves in most difficult situations. I mean, you may not see really, wow, someone to really survive all those obstacles in life, but to an extent, even though he may not have survived all those obstacles, there's some type of a progress there, even though it's a failure. That my point is that
Yes.
failures are actually steps towards success. So
Yes.
let's not see things in terms of black and white. You understand? Like
Yeah,
that's my point. That's
the
it.
laws of progress. So
Yeah, exactly. A little bit here, even though it's not really like a huge success, but it's there.
yeah, even if it looks like we are, you know, an individual is not progressing at all, it's even looks like they're, how can someone
Exactly.
bad things? You know, if you look at the eternal evolution of that spirit,
Exactly. Yeah.
the spirit is progressing. Maybe, you know, a serial killer will come and kill only one person in the present incarnation.
Exactly. Yes. That's
Uh,
my point.
had the temptations, control the temptations, end up killing only one. It's progress, right? It's hard for us to see, because we look at the still picture of someone and look at the acts that the person is doing, and we judge for the still picture that we see, and we don't have the ability to look at the individual on their eternal journey. And yes, I agree with you. You're absolutely right. Okay.
Okay. 216. In its new existence, does a spirit preserve any traces of the moral character exhibited in its former lives? Yes, but it changes as it improves. Its social standing may also change greatly in successive lives. After being a master in one existence and becoming a slave in another, their tastes are altogether different, and it is difficult to recognize them. Since it is the same spirit, there may be certain similarities between the manifestations of their character in successive lives. But these manifestations reflect the change in conditions and habits, particularly to each corporeal life, until the character has improved and completely changed. People who were once arrogant and cruel can become humble and humane through repentance and effort.
Yes, spirit brings all the moral qualities it has. So, as we always joke here, once you achieve patience, learn to be patient, you are going to be patient in all your incarnations. And also, we bring our moral imperfections, which we have to work to improve. So, as the laws of progress, the spirit is always improving, even if we don't see it, like we just discussed. Now, the places we find ourselves in different reincarnations, again, they are according to our necessities, the social standing that can change greatly in successive lives, right? Because if you were a wealthy person and abused the riches and abused others, it's very likely that you will come with a new incarnation without any means of surviving by, you know, by being assisted by others. You have to deal with your own struggles, so you can learn to be, you know, humble, to be accept your difficult situations. And again, many times we fail. When you see people that you know, you see the both extremes, they say it's very difficult to be extremely wealthy or extremely poor, are very difficult challenges, because extremely wealth is very easy to lose yourself in all the resources you have, and extremely poor is very easy to fall into rebellious, into anger, and into criminal life, to get rid and to get out of these difficult situations. But, you know, sometimes we have to come in those extreme situations. It doesn't mean that we will come, right? We may never have need to be born extremely poor or extremely rich, because we made our evolvement without the necessity of going through those phases. We can come in a incarnation that we have some resources, that we have a comfortable life, for us to have the opportunity of using our time to help others in different ways. And we can come in a difficult situation, but not completely poor, in that we have some means of surviving. We have to work hard to survive, but it gives us also opportunity to work on our moral improvements. That's most of our lives. You know, the extreme cases, again, they are less common, let's so to say. Okay.
And the social status that spirits mentioned here are very significant, because you may reincarnate, or we may reincarnate, bring about the same kind of characters, but we may not be able to express, depends on our social status. As we use over here, the master slave who becomes the next incarnation slave master. Maybe the first incarnation was very arrogant and defiant as a slave. If he wants to survive, he's going to have to quiet those characters up. Maybe it's still there. Given the opportunity, he'll be arrogant and defiant, but in the social state that he's being subjected in this reincarnation, you have to put it on hold, contain it, restrain it as much as possible if he wants to survive. And the very last sentence, as the law of progress tells us, people who were once arrogant and cruel can become humble and humane through repeated to repentance and effort. But the other way around is not possible.
Yes. If you are humble and humane, you are not going to come as an arrogant and cruel in a different incarnation. That's not possible. You are always moving forward, right? So acquired qualities belongs to the eternal spirit, and we are never going to lose whatever moral qualities we acquire. So when we see someone, oh, he was such a good person, how can he act so badly now? Well, he was not a good person to begin with. He didn't have the opportunity before, and now he had the opportunity. He's acting on the inferior tendencies, you know. That's it's important to understand. Once we acquire the moral qualities, we never lose it. Okay?
Yes. Number 217. Does a person preserve any traces of his or her physical nature from previous lives? When the body is destroyed, the new one has no connection to the old one. However, the spirit is reflected in the body, and despite the body only being matter, it is modeled based on the capacities of the spirit. Therefore, the latter imprints a specific character that is most visible in the face, especially in the eyes, which have been called the true window to the soul. In short, the face reflects the soul more than the rest of the body. An extremely ugly face can even be attractive when it is the outer shell of a good, wise, and humane spirit. On the other hand, a handsome or beautiful face may not trigger any agreeable feelings or may even incite repulsion. At first sight, it may seem that only strong, healthy bodies can serve as the envelopes for good spirits. Yet, every day we see virtuous and superior people with deformed bodies, without the existence of any distinctive likeness between them. The similarity of tastes and inclinations may bestow a family likeness upon the physical body, successively embodying the spirit, the same spirit. As a body housing the soul in a new incarnation does not have any essential connection with the one it has left, it may even belong to another race. It would be illogical to assume a series of lives from a likeness that may only be coincidental. Nevertheless, a spirit's qualities often modify the body used for its manifestations and give a distinctive look to the face, even in a general manner. This is how hints of nobility and dignity may be found even under the humblest shell. The attempt to disguise the immortality of individual and luxurious clothing often fails. Some individuals who have climbed up from the lowest standing manage to adopt the habits and manners of the higher ranks with little effort as if it were natural, while others, despite the advantages of birth and education, always seem to be out of place in refined society. How can this be explained other than as a reflection of a spirit's past lives?
So we know that the new physical body has nothing to do with the old physical body. But we also know that our spiritual body, the perispirit, is what models the new physical body as it modeled the old physical body. So there will be characteristics of the new physical body that will be a reflection of the spiritual body that may have the origins on the old physical body in terms of challenges, in terms of attributes. But again, we have to be very careful how to analyze this, right? Because then the spirits and Kardec go into the side of how you behave, how you transmit your own energy to others. And that's how, when they say that an extremely ugly face can even be attractive when the spirit behind it is good, or the other way around. Someone very beautiful can be very nasty as a person because it's not the beauty of the physical body or the ugliness of the physical body, but the spirit that inhabits that physical body. And we see, cases in the heaven and hell. We have the case of Marcel, a complete deformed body and a very evolved spirit that was always, people were always attracted to his kindness and his sweetness, right? And we see this all the time. We have people that, we sympathize immediately. Again, unfortunately, humans in general at our level are first attracted by a physical likeness, right? We are attracted to the physical side. But if the physical aspect is something that changes, and the spiritual character is what really, in the end, has to stay behind. And then we studied that the necessity of the physical attractiveness sometimes to unite two spirits that need to readjust, and otherwise they wouldn't. So it is, of course, it is necessary and important. But behind the physical body, there is an eternal spirit that can have all the qualities and imperfections that many of us, we all have our individual qualities and imperfections, and this can reflect in how our physical body looks to others in terms of behavior, in terms of energy, and these sort of things. Okay? Okay?
Okay, 218, I
No,
think.
we're going to stop here, but
Okay.
Elmo has something to say.
You just have to remember, all that is done respecting the laws and the rules of genetics, right? Not going beyond and outside of it. So those things that may repeat, they will repeat in accordance to the genetics, whatever the parents bring to the formation of the new body. So things like we see many cases of, especially the book of Brian Stevenson with cases that suggest of reincarnation, which the body of the person now, as that spirit remembers his past reincarnation, there is even scars that are associated with the death of the previous incarnation of that spirit. And all the similarities over there, those has nothing to do with the genetics. When you speak about the eyes of the ear, the eyes is now the window of the soul, so to say. It's more of a very ethereal thing that you see. It's not something physical, like the color of the eye, of the shape of the orbit, that is pure genetics.
Okay. All right, so we stop here. So this Saturday, we have a very interesting talk from the USSF. It's The Mathematics of Love Through Reincarnation by Dan Assisi. You know him well, right? You have seen him before. This Saturday at 11 a.m. Through the United States Spiritist Federation YouTube page. This Sunday, we'll be studying the Gospel according to Spiritism. We are in the final chapter, which we're discussing prayers, and it's a very good study. Book Club is back from summer vacation next week, Wednesday 14. We are going to do part 2, chapter 1 of the book Paul and Stephen that we've been reading. So it comes back Wednesday, 7 p.m. Okay? I'm going to ask Elmo to sit here and do the final prayer for us. Okay?
And we invite everyone to take just few minutes to try to relax the physical instrument, to relax and to connect with our spiritual benefactors who come to us home to inspire, to guide, and to provide us with their blessing energies. In prayer, we reflect the teachings of our Master Jesus Christ. And to our beloved Master, we say that we are following to the best of our abilities his teachings. We are asking, and we are receiving the answers. We are knocking, and doors are opening to us. We use the Spiritist doctrine as the instrument for questioning, for knocking, for our seeking. And this divine doctrine provide it all to us. So yes, beloved Master, that you may be inspired by the noble higher spirits to make the best use of all they are learning here, to apply the moral teachings of Jesus Christ in our daily lives to the best of our abilities. We send our vibrations of love and peace to all of our members who are not able to join us this evening. We send our vibrations of love and peace, of renewed hope, of renewed faith, for our family members who may be ill, for those who have recently went back home to the spiritual world. Vibrating vibrations of love and peace, of active resignation to all who are undergoing difficult trials, dealing with man-made calamities, the wars, the terrors, the crimes throughout this planet, and for the natural calamities that are part of our life in this planet. Grateful for all they receive here. We ask for inspiration, guidance for the week, to be able to be back here, hopefully, a little bit better than what we are today. And permission to close this meeting. So be it.